Hello, Scrappy Peeps. Susanna here today to share with you this large photo layout that I created using the Notting Hill collection from PhotoPlay. I got this from a cherry on top. So I have that large black and white photo that you saw of my daughter. It's actually printed on a letter size piece of paper. So my thought was that I want to scrap it 12 by 12 and I'm going to create a bookcase that goes up and around her. That is my original plan. And I have that strip of the stripy paper down the side to just create some delineation, to create that visual interest with that color contrast between the bookcase and the photo. But I decide that that one little strip up the top is visually disturbing to me. I could have put two of the shelves, but so I head down a slightly different path than what I had originally intended. I want this border on the left-hand side to be a flip. I want to be able to journal underneath there. And so I thought it was pretty cool that it mimics the bookcase that's in her room. So I'm using a bone folder to just score down a 1/4 inch, and I am going to use 1/4 inch double-sided tape in order to anchor that. Now I actually anchor the fold to the top side of the paper. If I had thought about it and used my brain, I would have put the adhesive. So instead of right there, I would have put the adhesive on the front side of that fold and then anchored it to the back side of the paper. That would have given me more room to journal. Just a little tidbit if you decide to create something similar. So then I'm going to put this stripy piece here, and now I have the whole right-hand side of the page to create. My original intent had actually been to print this photo 12 by 12, but I can't get my large format printer to work, or actually it's working just fine. I just can't get it to connect to my new laptop. I'm having some issues. And so that's why I went with 8.5 by 11. And so that's the size I'm going to work with. I can't stress about these things. So I love this quote that says, "There is no friend as loyal as a book." This girl will always be more loyal to books. She is such an avid bibliophile. She loves to read. She's an avid reader. She loves books. You should see the bookcases in her room. And I thought with this large photo with just her head peeking out from behind the book that this speech bubble was absolutely perfect. And so perfect to come out from her head and say such a quote, because that is absolutely something that she would say. So I'm fussy cutting that. And I know I'm going to use that as a large element, which really nicely offsets that large photo and adds some nice color to that black and white space there. So now there's those 3 labels that are on that sticker sheet, the element stickers. One says must read, the other is reading next and reading now. And I thought it was perfect to use to just document her current moment in time and what she's reading. And so I thought they would make perfect little pull-outs either from the photo directly. I thought I'd just put a slit, or that I would put a pocket. So I still haven't decided at this point what I'm going to do. That was actually a anti-static pouch that I'm using there just to get the adhesive off so that it can be a pull. So I've got the adhesive down onto the 3x4 pocket, or cardstock really, and I will print a picture of each of those books that she comes up with and gives me, and then if she wanted to write a little bit of a review of each of those books, whether it ended up being as good as she thought it was going to or not, then she has that as an option. I love the way that that blue works with the black in the bookcase on the left-hand side. And also the shelves themselves in the bookcase are that blue. And again, it adds some color to where I've got a lot of that really bright white. It's not really white, it's the carpet, but that light color in the page itself. So a nice contrast to that. So what I've decided is, instead of pulling them out from the photo itself, because I'm not using a 12 by 12 photo, I am going to create a pocket. And so I know the size. You can see I held up the card to measure how tall I wanted that card to be poking out from the pocket. So I've measured what size that's going to be. I'm going to adhere that down first, and I'm going to use my 1/2 inch tape, double-sided tape, to get great security from the bottom of the pocket and the sides as well. So that is going to be the bottom of the pocket, and then I'm going to adhere the whole photo just down the sides, and then you can see how that creates a pocket for those cards to sit in. And then by securing the bottom, if I wanted to, I could have had a bottom pocket as well, but I didn't need that because that's going to be sitting down at the bottom of the page protector there. So there is the perfect set of pockets there. I do trim off one of the cards so that you can read each of those labels so that they're offset just that little bit there. So that is the basic foundation of the layout. Now I just want to put a little bit more in the way of embellishment. On the sticker sheet, you have these super awesome potted plants. So I'm going to put a few of those in the bookcase itself. While there are already some potted plants there, I liked the idea of having the 3 and having them popped up on foam. The foam creates a little bit of shadow behind it, as well as giving some dimension to the page. I like that little bit of dimension, and I really like the shadow that creates even within the black bookcase itself. So just cutting the foam to fit so that it just so happened that it ended up being peeking out a little bit, and that really annoyed me. Make sure your scissors are clean when you're trying to cut into foam, and that makes sure that you get a nice clean cut of the foam. If you've got sticky scissors, residue from other sticky elements, then it's hard to get a clean cut of the foam. It actually tears the foam. So I want to create something that secures that flap down. See how it's kind of sitting up? So I want it to be secured down. So I'm using this sticker, but I'm actually going to change my mind on how that works. I feel like I need a shot of color over here as well, so that you're more aware of the fact that this is a flip, and that you need to lift it out from behind the element that is going to secure that down. So I'm sort of still problem solving how that is going to happen as I create and embellish. So I know I want this tag, but I feel like I need another larger element somewhere on the page. I thought maybe I would use those phrase stickers and go run all across the bottom of the page and create a border, but I changed my mind, and so I use this little heart as a flip holder. So you've got that tab there that says lift me, and then that goes secure underneath the heart, and that helps hold that down. So still not quite what I'm looking for, but I'll get there. Just hang with me. I will absolutely get there. So I have one of the open books that I will put for some more color onto the black and white. And I'm popping that up on foam as well. I don't want all of the elements to just be on the left-hand side of the page. There needs to be something that moves your eye around the page, and by having another raised element on that right-hand side, I am able to do that. So I want to use these big letters that say read, and in a need to line them up with something. I like that line of the D against that speech bubble there. It creates a nice line down the right-hand side of the page. Pardon my head that keeps poking in there, but I like to stand over my work to make sure that things are lined up, and there's just no way to not get my head in there. So that original phrase says reader's gonna read, and so I just took off the back half of read so that I had that big read that matches the proportions of my page. So I found this tag in the cut apart. So I have the collection kit, which is still available over on a cherry on top. That's a tongue twister, on a cherry on top. And so if you have a bibliophile or a reader, or yourself are a reader, I definitely recommend that you go and pick that up. So the top half of a tag, isn't that perfect? So I've got that border that's coming out of, so it doesn't look like it's out of place, and that is the perfect way to anchor down that tag, and it adds that splash of color that creates the balance juxtaposed to that teal in the speech over on the right hand side there. So perfect. I was able to get a nice solution. And then that blue that I had cut looks nice again at adding all of that color that is on the left-hand side merges nicely into the right-hand side of the page now. So that's exactly the same phrase, there is no friend as loyal as a book, that I liked, that was on that green tag that I used for the secure holder. And so I'm just going to put that on top of the phrase that is already there. And again, it pulls more of that color and that same movement in the books that are stacked in the bookcase over to the right-hand side of the page there. In order to be able to secure that, without you seeing the writing that's underneath it, I am just going to cut that little rectangle of white cardstock out there, and then it gives me the perfect place to nestle that coordinating color over onto the right-hand side. So it looks like a stack of books, and that is the intent there. So I want to have a little bit of a border up the top at the edge of that pocket, just a little thin something. I really liked the red, and I would have liked to have used the red, but I didn't really want to cut into a whole page for a 1/4 inch strip. So the back side of that blue that I've already used is absolutely perfect with that little bit of plaid right there, and it's not too bold, so ended up being the perfect solution. And then that leftover down the bottom anchors the page nicely because it coordinates with the blue that is up the top there. I still feel like I need another big element on the page, and while I hated covering her fingers, that red sticker there from the Elements stickers that says sleep is good, books are better. And then of course I have to have this stack of books with the cat on top because her cat Luna is gray and loves to hang out with her up in her room as she's reading her books, and that gives me the large element that I am looking for. So I have this sticker that's in the sticker sheet that's scalloped stripes that work with the stripes that are down the page. And so it gives you the green, but also that little bit of stripe down the bottom. So that worked out perfectly. And then I have that heart that is left over from the flip, and it looks perfect on that stack of books there. It's just that extra shot of color. I intentionally wanted the black and white photo to go with all of these really bright colors already. But that bright red just wraps it up. You can almost see a visual triangle from the banner in the title to the phrase followed by that red heart there. So that wraps it up, my friends. Be sure to head over to A Cherry on Top if you are interested in this collection. I'll link you in the description box down below, and enjoy the close-ups. If you have any questions about how I created the flip or the pocket, please don't hesitate to leave them in the box down below. Thanks for stopping in today. Come back again soon. Take care.